Hello, hello. Welcome everyone to another live development session about Thunderbird. Let me switch the camera so you can see my beautiful face. Yay! Oh, I'm just super it's very bright. So my massive forehead is extremely burned because the camera cannot do a proper color correction, but I have to do it, otherwise the green screen behind me is not lit enough, so you're gonna see like weird things, but it's gonna happen anyway. Welcome everyone, thank you for joining this beautiful live streaming, and let me hide a couple of things here. Hello, we already have a couple of people in there. Hello, hi Danny, hi Kartik. Thank you so much for joining this second live development session about Thunderbird. In the first one, I showed a little bit of my coding workflow of all the things that I was doing. Today, in this session, we're gonna do a little bit of design actually. So I should have renamed these to Thunderbird Live Design Session, but whatever, it's still, the design should be part of the development process, so we don't have to split the two. But let me show you what are we gonna do today. First of all, change the camera, look at that, beautiful. So, what we have here, I was working on a patch to implement a keyboard shortcut to open the new message security pane, the new message security pop-up panel. Here we have a bunch of new messages, but we can ignore them for now. To open the new message security panel, because in Thunderbird 78, we implemented into core the OpenPGP encryption technology. Before it was available through an add-on called Enigmail. Enigmail is not compatible anymore with Thunderbird 78, so we baked it into core because it's a very important functionality. Something like that here. Now in 78, whenever you have an encryption, something like if an email is signed with a security signature or it's encrypted via SMIME or OpenPGP, it shows the different... Oh, I'm getting a call. Sorry. Just a second. Hello? What's the last name? Oh, okay, yes. Can you leave it in front of the apartment door? Thank you. The beauty of live streaming. Sorry, guys. I just got a package delivered for my wife, so yeah, it just... the beauty of the live. Anyway, what I was saying is that you have these, we have these new button here that changes based on your encryption technology. It could be SMIME or OpenPGP, and shows a little icon based on what you, what's the status of your encryption. Is it a correct encryption? If it's just only a signature or whatever. And when you click on this button, it opens this little quick recap of all your information, of your security information. And by the way, all these emails with these test accounts and encrypted like signature keys and blah, blah, blah are all fake keys. They're all like tests that we're using to actually test this functionality. So it doesn't really matter if I'm streaming these things because all those keys are fake and we use them as tests, so it's totally fine. But yeah, the problem here, it's the for example, this is completely broken. The problem here is the accessibility of this button. My dog is barking. This is a beautiful live streaming. Okay, just a second. Just a second. I'm gonna mute this for a second. All right, sorry guys. It's a wonderful morning. Everything is happening right now. my dog started barking because the delivery guy just like knocked on the door, so my dog freaked out. But yeah, still Thursday morning, yeah, it's fun. Best live streaming I've ever done. What I was saying is that the accessibility of this button is not great. Before we had a menu item that you could have access. If, for example, you use the menu bar, you can go in messages, and then we had an item here called message security, and then another sub menu with like show security info. But first of all, we don't have an access key for that. It's not discoverable as easy, and also it's very weird to have menu item that is hidden in a sub menu for something that is just right here. So in order to access these, then you're focusing on this area, and then you have to completely ignore this area and go into a menu in a completely different direction in an opposite location and just dig into the menu and try to find that menu item in order to click it. It's not the best. So this is not the greatest solution. So the solution here would be to first implement an accelerator, something, for example, a shortcut for whatever, to open this pop-up with a keyboard shortcut, or to improve the focus ring. So when you tab or you change the focus with your keyboard, for users that don't use a mouse, cannot use a mouse, and they just use keyboards, improve the accessibility of these things. Because right now, if, for example, I hit tab, you see this little, it's very faint, it's not super visible, this little dotted border, and then it switches to, actually, if I hit tab, it switches to the little star, and then I tab again, it focuses the subject, then the 2, then the star, then I hit tab again, and it's completely gone, because it doesn't focus the toolbar buttons, it just skipped them entirely, and it's actually focused on these element here, which is the time and date, which is selectable. It's a focusable item for whatever reason. I don't know if someone needs to, I need to actually select, copy paste these. I mean, copy paste, and it's might be useful, but the fact that it's part of the focus ring and then the tab goes there but doesn't highlight it is very weird. And if I hit tab again, then the button now it's highlighted, and I can hit enter and make it like open it up. But it's not super intuitive. First, it's not discoverable at all. Like, you have to hit tab a million times to reach that part. Then these toolbar buttons here are not part of the focus ring, so you can use these action by shortcuts like Control R, Control F, Control A, in order to do all the things that all these buttons have. But they don't have these the shortcut associated to these buttons inside the tooltip, which we should say in the tooltip, hey, this button is actually accessible through a shortcut, which Firefox does sometimes on some tooltips. And also, they should be more accessible and easier discoverable. So the thing that I want to do today, I want to redesign a little bit this area. First, in order to reorganize a little bit better these elements, because we have also another issue that I'm going to tackle in a couple of seconds. But the focus ring should actually be very short. If you hit tab 25 times to reach a destination, is not great focus ring. It's not a great accessibility. So you should be able to focus with the tab on major areas, and then with your arrow keys access those minor areas inside the major area, like access the elements inside those major areas. And that's better, actually. Let me show you what I mean, because like Firefox does something like that in some small areas. So if I open a new window, you can see here, for example, we have the main toolbar, right? Main toolbar, we have the arrow keys, the home, reload, and then some, depends on how many add-ons you have here. And if I want to focus on something, for example, if I hit tab, for example, I'm focused on the awesome bar, like the new device. If I hit shift tab, I go back. Okay, let's start from here. I'm focused on the main tab. If I hit tab, it focuses on the first enabled available toolbar button, which in this case is the refresh. If I hit tab again, it skipped the home button because the home and the reload are part of the same group. So if I hit now the arrow keys, I can go back and forth. And this is very smart because, for example, if we are in the situation like here, for example, we have these 3 buttons and I want to reach the actual main app menu, I can hit tab once again, and once again, I can hit tab and I'm in the last toolbar section. But if I want to quickly scroll through like the main tab, main buttons, bar, and then the final buttons, I can do it with like few tabs. Imagine if I had to tab for all these buttons, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 20 different tabs to reach the final menu, like the actual button that I want. But in this case, since the tab actually focuses on the first element of a grouped area, and then the elements inside the group area can be accessed with the arrow, and the fact that the arrow is constrained inside the element, like I'm tabbing, like I'm hitting the arrow again, is not moving away from this area. It's way more, it's easier to navigate and easier to discover. So that's what I want to implement here. That's what we want to implement in Thunderbird as well, especially for the main toolbar area. Like all these things are not easily accessible through a keyboard shortcut. And then there's another thing that requires a little bit of design. So this is Thunderbird 68. I'm still on the older version of Thunderbird just because we have some regression. We need to double check if those regressions are Thunderbird. And this message header here, this message header, used to be customizable. The thing is that the customization of these message header is pretty useless, I would say. Like I know a lot of people will hate me for saying that, but literally the only thing that you can customize is removing some buttons if you don't need them, or adding the tags and conversation. And the other thing is that you can customize is just showing only the text or showing only the icons, which is okay. Like it's useful if you have a very small window, but we removed this in 78 because having this whole header, a customizable toolbar, adds a lot of complexity that we have to maintain for a section that only allows to customize 2 things, 3 things. Like we should, like the objective is to keep the customizability of toolbars only if it makes sense. For example, this is the main toolbar. Look how many options we have here. This is important because it's the main toolbar. We can customize and add all the buttons that we want. We can change the layout as much as we want. But having this area customizable, it just, we need to maintain it, and just adds complexity for a very little return of investment, if we want to call it that way. Is the benefit, it doesn't match the technical requirement to supporting that thing. But like some users are kind of upset, rightfully so, because this area used to be customizable, so they needed to remove some buttons, and they don't need, they don't need to see the text, they just want to see the icons. Those are very good points. So in first, what we want to do in Thunderbird 78, we want to update the area in order to be smarter. For example, in the quick filter, we have a similar situation. Here we have all these checkboxes that you can filter by and read, start, contact. You can just filter the messages. But if we don't have enough space here, those filters automatically collapse and just show the icons, because the UI, it's a little bit fluid. It understands, oh, there's not enough space to accommodate all those buttons, especially in localization. Like these words, for example, in German, they are very, very long. So if we shrink down the UI should adapt. Something that doesn't happen in the message header. You can see here, like the buttons, they just go one on top of the other, and if there's not enough space, they just disappear to the side and are not reachable. This is very bad. It shouldn't happen. Other thing, we reorganize a little bit. So you remember we had the conversation button and the tags button. Now these options are inside the more menu, but we should leave the users the ability to hide some buttons that they don't want and reveal them. And we can achieve that level of customizability, which with just a simple, like a couple of clicks, a couple of menus items here, without having this whole area, a massive customizable toolbar, which adds, as I said, adds complexity and maintainability and legacy code to us, which we don't want. We try to remove those things to smooth the process a little bit. And also the organization of this thing is kind of weird. Like, yes, we have the addresses here. Once we have multiple addresses, then you have a more to show them that appears right at the edge, which is strange. And yeah, this thing that is part of the focus ring, but the header is not part of the focus ring. So I want to fix that. So what I'm going to do here, for example, I am going to actually take a screenshot and start from a screenshot. So let me take a screenshot of one of these. Yeah, this is very cramped. So we start from a position of not optimal situation. This is very cramped, long name. This is like a fake email account that we use for testing. We start from there and then we open. I'm using Figma because Akira is not ready yet, but I will hopefully use Akira sooner or later. So let me create another frame and I'm gonna call it message header. And then I got import my beautiful screenshot inside. There you go. And I'm going to shrink it because I'm on 4K. So this is massively big and I don't need it this big, but yeah. Whoopsie. Okay. So we had the starter menu as an option here. So as a reference. So we can start doing some design. And I'm not sure if this is going to be interesting. It's going to be boring as hell. Let me know in the chat if you guys want to see something specific or something less boring. But hello, everyone. Thank you for being here. Let me grab a sip of coffee. Alexius asked, show the package. I don't know. It was a package for my wife. I think what did she order? I don't know. A book, maybe? I don't know. I'll let you know later. Stefan says, having keyboard shortcuts and tooltips will be a nice improvement. Yes, indeed. I was surprised when I started working at Thunderbird that we don't have actually a smart way to show accelerators or show shortcuts inside the tooltips by default. Like if a button has a tooltip attached to it, that button should automatically show that. That would be a nice implementation, but I guess it's not part of the scope for now, but whatever. Okay, message header. Let's start with the beautiful, simple rectangle that we like to have. Let's copy the background. Okay, let's shrink it a little bit. And then let's add a stroke, which is gonna be this little color here. Boom. Okay, we got the header. So let's start with from here. So actually, before starting to fill up all our element, before starting to let's write the from, the subject, the to, let's write all the buttons. Let's define better the areas with a little bit of wireframing so we can better define what we want to do. The idea here, and these, of course, all these things that I'm doing are not set in stone. This is a proposal that I'm thinking to suggest, and then I'm going to send it over to the technical director, to the theme module owner, to all the other developers, all the entire team, and we're going to discuss that. Then I'm going to share it on the UX mailing list to discuss it with the community, the active members of the community. So it's an ongoing process. It's not that I design something, I decide how to do it, and we do it, and that's it. No, it's a long process. It's a long way coming. So I would say the first thing is to decide we should use first for the layout CSS grid. So CSS grid allows us to be super fluid, but also be a little bit restrict in the spacing and the sizing of things. So I would say the left side, so 40% should be related to delegated to the addressing widget. But the addressing widget, they can variate. So you could have like a from item that is very, very long, and then a subject that is very, very short, and then a million different items that might be your two. Like if we send these items to 20 different recipients and then 10 BC, 10 CC, so we need to make it fluid as possible in order to adapt that. But for now, let's make it something very simple. You could say that this is the from line, this is the subject line, and this is the to line, and we can have a little bit of organization, something like that. Let's say this area is the addressing area. Then the right area should be entirely occupied by the toolbar buttons, and these buttons will need to be fluid and adapt based on the amount of space that we have in our right side, in the right side of our toolbar, because of course, like, these addressing widgets cannot shrink because they need to be readable as much as possible. Then we have in this situation, we have the time and date, but I don't know if we want to keep it there. Like, does it make sense to have it there? Or will make more sense to have it like close to the from, or I don't know. We'll see. We'll experiment this. Oh, this is not. This is outside, and these should be the area reserved to the encryption technology. So once we have the encryption technology, so this is the basically wireframing, copying and representing what's our situation right now. But I think we could definitely improve it, right? Don't you think? So, for example, let me grab something. Oh, I just noticed one thing. I noticed that when I'm live streaming, the logo is on my face. My little beautiful logo is on my face, but whatever, it's fine. Actually, I think I could move myself to the side. Yeah, let's do this so the logo is not on my face. Look at that, the beauty of live streaming, guys. You're seeing all the things live, and it's amazing. Nassif, what is the design program? This is Figma. Yes, Akira definitely tries to be like Figma or Affinity Designer or Sketch. Like, I never said that Akira was an innovative, like a brand new thing of like something groundbreaking that no one thought about. Like, Akira literally wants to be what Figma and Sketch are for Windows and Mac OS. It's a missing tool, and we're trying. And these software like Figma and Sketch, they've been around for many, many years, so we can learn from them, and we can learn what they did right, what they did wrong, and we can try to improve that. So yeah, that's the thing, right? So let's say that, for example, let's continue this work. Danny asked, don't you remember the #1 rule of software development, Alex? Yes, I do remember. So I'm doing everything wrong right now. It's an inside joke in the Thunderbird community. Should I explain it? No, I don't want to explain it. Yeah, I can. No, it's okay. Yeah, no, okay. One user told me once that he's super upset because we changed the interface in 78 and we broke the number one rule of software development, which is never change the interface. That's the golden rule of software development. I guess everyone is failing since 1975. We keep changing these interfaces and we shouldn't, but it's fine. Okay, so let's say that let's start filling up these wireframes a little bit, so we can. Do you like this organization? I'm kind of like, I don't know if this ordering makes sense, but usually other email clients, they have pretty much in the same situation. They have like the addressing to one side, to the left side, and then the buttons and the interaction to the right side. I'm still not super convinced that the date and time should be here, but we'll figure that out later. So let's start filling up these areas. So for example, these, let's remove these and we can start with from, and we're gonna use the Ubuntu regular, and let's do light. Actually should be, I think, yeah, it should be regular, but it's 10. Come on, yay. And then if I'm not wrong, this is a CCC. No, too much. It's a 999. No, to remember this color, but I don't think I can pick it up. Oh, I guess, yeah. Okay, doesn't have to be super accurate. Oh, it was close to 999, so 9191. It doesn't have to be super accurate because this is just a mock-up to representing. All these colors are part of the brand identity of our CSS inside, so we are good the way it is. So here we can duplicate this and move it and put it at 333. Let's say Alice Lovelace, and then the email. So here it's something that it's interesting that we could improve first. What we do basically here, we simply write everything into a string, and this whole area it's selectable, but we give the same importance to both the name and then the email address. This name comes from your address book. If the users is saved in your address book, you receive these emails before you have the name, and then you can have the address. So something that would be nice to have, I think, is styling a little bit this address. If you have that in like saved in your address book with a proper name, giving the same importance to the full name, and the email isn't that important. If the email address changes and doesn't match what you have in your address book, yes, absolutely, we should highlight it. But if you already know the user and it's saved, we should do something else. So we can duplicate this and have this Alice, not alive, Alice at open pgp dot example, something like that. So let's say we wanna change a little bit this, change the color first to give a little bit less importance. And then we can potentially make it italic. This is like the easiest trick in the book. Make it italic, or actually, let me put this 12 because otherwise it's not readable. Okay. And this is my life. It's not. This is what it is. This is what happens here in this beautiful place. Just tweaking, testing, trying. Remember the distance. The distance should be a little bit different from here. And also we want to do multiple of 3s because we should respect that type of organization. Let's add the little star icon that I should have in my source files. So I'm gonna grab this star, what it is, mail, themes, shared, mail, icons. Okay, star, do we have a star? Starred and star SVG. Okay, let's, boom, star SVG. Nope. Is the stroke? Nope. Oh, it's inside. Gotta put it out. Sometimes Figma is weird when it imports SVGs. It imports them as like frames inside a frame. It's not it's not super intuitive, but let's move that. Okay, we have the same elements here. This star, it's a little bit bigger than what we have in the screenshot, which I guess it's fine, and leave it like that. Okay, something that we could do here, instead of having something like this, we could increase a little bit the header area if we want, and put the name on to, let's give it a try. Let's give it a try. So if we do something like this, do something like this, and the name, the email, since we already know the email, we can shrink it down a little bit, which we maintain it as a readable. The from is the center here. People are gonna hate this change if it gets approved in any way. And let's change it this way. And here we can have it this star. Auto. No, doesn't look good. Doesn't look good. No, not at all. Not at all. So it could be not at all. Let's move it back to what it was before. This is you see what I'm trying to do? I don't know if it's like it's easy to understand here. It seems like I'm just moving things around without much sense, but the thing that I'm trying to do, I'm trying to reorganize the element to save more space. Since the space in this message area, it's kind of limited. It might be limited. If you have a large screen and you read your email in full screen, it doesn't really matter. But if this space is limited, you have a small area, you have a small screen, these having, for example, if imagine you have, like, you receive an email from me and it's my full name. Yeah, see, just already an error here. And then you receive my Sandro at Thunderbird.net. This is brutal. Like, you're gonna have, and that's the issue that we have in Thunderbird right now. If something like this happens, the buttons, they go on top, they go above the old header. Like, we did it on purpose so we can save as much as possible, but it's super weird. It's super strange. Doesn't make sense, because then you have like this empty area here, the buttons are shifted to the right. It's not a great solution. So that's why I was trying to put it on another line, another row, and trying to organize it. Trying to organize this space. That's why I wanted to try to put it on 2 lines here. Maybe we can, by shrinking it a little bit. Italic. Let's read the chat. Actually, let me grab a sip. Okay, Nasif, I love Akira, love that it's Linux first, yes, and elementary GTK base. Yeah, I'm still working on that. It's taking me a lot of time. I implemented the grid. I'm gonna do a live streaming to show you the progress probably in later next month. Danny said the vertical centered from looks weird. Maybe if it was at the same level of the name, it'd be better. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, it could be something like that. These two could be aligned with themselves, and here we could have the email down here, maybe even a tad small, something like that. And as I said, this would happen only if you know the recipient, like the sender of the email. If you know who it is and you have that email saved in your address book, you would see the full name if you have any full name. If we don't have a full name, the email would occupy this line, so we can save some space. Here, this thing, I would actually like to have it before the name. If we have it, doesn't make sense having it after, right? No, looks like a Disney thing. Oh, copyright infringement. Nazif said, actually what I was thinking. Yes, Marco, sei italiano? Sì, sono italiano. Arkemi, I like select email and is a problem with hover. Yes, exactly. So Asma Hamza suggested why to not show email only on hover, because it's not like hiding important information on like behind an over effect is not super accessible. It's not accessible by keyboard users. We could do it on focus, but it's not discoverable until you go on top of that element. Hiding those important information is not great. And also, some users they like to have these items selectable. So if it's hidden underneath a hover effect, it's not easily selectable. It adds a lot of like mouse interactions complexity that we want to try to avoid. So always showing the important information plainly and making it easier to select, it's better. Nasty asks the design tool. Yeah, Danny answer Figma. Net Consulting, how can integrate with social media accounts? I don't know. We don't have that yet. We will try. We have some very low level, low priority bugs to implement some social accounts. For example, actually, I can show you some. We are redesigning the address book. The address book will have some extra social accounts. So, if, for example, where is it? Contact edit, contact list, contact edit. There you go. The new address book will live in a full-on tab, and you will have the ability to add some social media accounts that for now are only in the address book. I don't know if we will implement them in the message header. I don't know if it makes sense. Does it make sense when you receive an email from someone and you have a Twitter account connected? You have your Twitter link there. I don't know. Arkemi said, click on name, show, and copy an email. Yes, that's already a feature that we have. You can already use it, but hiding the email is not super cool, I think. But yeah, this is tricky. Okay, let's leave it for now as it is here, and let's put these star at 10, and let's put it close to the name because it belongs more to the name than the actual where is it? Give me 6. Yeah, than the actual email. Okay, then we have the subject line. Subject line, let's go to here. Subject, and here we have something that, yes, we decided to make it right aligned. So all these elements, let me group them together. all these items, all the labels of the form should be right aligned, because this changes with localization. If you have something like in Italian, soggetto, it's longer than subject, and we need to be sure that all the items are properly aligned and they push everything together and the UI adapts and blah, 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 all this good stuff. So always have everything aligned based on the longest item, which is important. Then the subject here, let's grab these item, let's paste it here. This is my subject, something like that. Okay, and then we have the last, which is the 2, so we can duplicate this. Oops. And paste it here. 2. Say me. Or if you have something. Okay, I have some ideas. So, so for example, if you receive an email to yourself, like I am me, this is my email account, and this is the email that was sent to me, and no other emails were listed here. Should we represent the full-on email? I guess we should, right? Does it make sense to repeat, hey, this email was sent to you? I guess it makes sense if you have multiple accounts inside Thunderbird and an email might have been sent to an account to another, but we could have some check in place. If you only have one account and the email was sent just to you, we could maybe do something smarter with this section. No, something like that. Okay, I guess. Also, other question, does the subject need to have the same importance of the from recipient and the final recipient, or something like that? So let's say what did I do? Figma just freaked out. Okay, let me copy these and paste it here. No, I cannot paste it here. I can paste it here. Okay, sorry. Me is multi-email. Yeah, Danny said, I was thinking the same. There's multiple accounts. Yeah, if there are multiple accounts, makes sense to show the email. But if you have one simple account, like these areas should be way smarter in saving space as much as possible, because we don't know how much space a user might have in his tool belt. So 6 pixel here and 6 pixel here. Subject to from. Okay. Also, we could maybe improve this by creating a little bit of visual separation between the from and the subject. You see how they group together and these two are more separate. Like if I increase the distance of these, for example, to 12, you see that already it gives a better separation, if it makes sense. Maybe the subject and these two, but yeah, let's not go too far. What do you think about order from to subject? Oh, yeah. Okay, so Nestor suggested to change the order and put the two top. But yeah, but the problem is that sometimes you have all the recipients here. You have multiple recipients. For example, this email might have been sent to myself, to other 5 people, and then put it into carbon copy, so CC to other 20 people. And having the last row, which is the one that can expand and can contain as many addresses as possible, it's better than having it in the middle, because having it in the middle pushes the subject down, unless we put the subject on a completely different position and we keep it that way, but I'm not super sure. It's an interesting suggestion. We might experiment with that and see how it might look, but I'm not sure. I have some concerns about it. The other thing, okay, the other thing that I have so many doubts about this section. I hate it when I'm not sure what I'm doing. I hate it so much. Okay, let's do something crazy. Yes, Nassif, that's what I was thinking. So let's do something absurd. Let's group the addressing all together and let's leave the subject up. But what if we remove the labels? And that's people are gonna hate me for this. I don't know. What if we use some spacing? So, for example, let's do something more obvious, something actually closer to real life data. So, review of the latest patch. This is a title. This is a subject that you might receive. And if we make it slightly bigger, but lighter here, we remove the subject. Let's duplicate this actually. Also, I don't like the star here, because the star represents something that it's important. It's starred, especially in the list. If I'm not wrong here, run TB. We have a list here. Yes, so this is the weirdness of this section. So we have, for example, the star that it's used in the message pane in order to actually make it like, this is an important message, is my favorite message, so star it, because make it important. Here it's, basically favorite. But then we use the star as well to add the account to the address book, which is weird because we use the same icon for two different contexts and it doesn't make sense. Also, it doesn't make sense here to have like, you're not marking this email address as your favorite, but you're saving into your address book account. So I think we should change this icon here. This doesn't make sense to be here. If we use the star as a favorite or star message, that doesn't make sense. See, like we're starting to reach something here. we're arriving at something. So let's say this is, we keep that paradigm. The star is for the message itself. So we can have a star before the subject line, exactly as we have it in a message list. So that matches the thing. And thank you guys for writing in the chat. I'm kind of off focus. I'm gonna go back in the chat there. So this is the title of the message. This is the subject of the message. I'm not sure about the light, but here maybe 444. And then we wanna have the from the user that sent it to you, that can be here, and the user that sent it to you, if you have, since we have remove this, yuck. Since we have images, pictures of your address in your address book, or we could grab from public APIs or from the web. If you have an email address that it's saved in some social media, that, or you have some public domain where your email address is associated to an image, we could potentially have a picture of the sender here. So let me grab like a random picture already here. Yeah, there you go. Let's grab this. And let's put it here. Yeah, look at this guy. Beautiful. Beautiful. You a designer? You're in a circular background. Okay. So it could have something like that. We could give it a stroke if we want with some primary Thunderbird color, something like that. So we give a splash of color that it's more recognizable. With this situation, the double line makes sense. And also here we could consider allowing the user to control the density of these header, because right now we're making something very, very large. That yes, it's going to be fluid, and you will be able to adapt this, but we also want to give the users the ability to, no, I don't want these as large as possible. I want these as smaller as possible, as small as possible. So just shrink it down. And now here, this thing, we can put them outside. We can have the list of recipients. So to BC, CCC, and we could do something very, very smart here. So we could have something like this. I'm creating something. I'm creating a monster here. I created a monster. We could do something in line, like to me and another at example.com, and then BCC or and Jack at his website dot extension, something very, very long. And then we could have something like 3 CC 1 reply 2. And then we could do this is not great, but the idea here would be to have a rectangle, which is an actual pill with a text that said show, or actually says simply more, or show more, show all, more. Let's put more for now. Let's keep it more. And also these could be our primary color here, Thunderbird, brand identity. And these would be 8, and then medium, more. Do you have does it ever happen to you that you stare at the word for a very long time and it loses the meaning? Like now this seems wrong. Like more seems wrong. Might be could play and could be something like this. Could it be something like this? I don't know. And maybe here we could push it to the side. I don't know. This seems strange. Let's get some questions. All righty, more. Let's get to some question. Nastor, thanks for the explanation. A possibility would be to elite the receivers list with a ... button that expands the area vertically. Yes, absolutely. We already have that for now, but it's always better to keep it at the bottom, so we don't interfere with any other element or item. Nasif, then it depends what the user prefer. Personally, I don't mind the subject because lots of people aren't good to find straight to the point subject. Yes, I like that the subject is at the top since it's already written in bold. Add a body with a plus sign. Yes, Danny. Yeah, we should add something there. Indeed, the star close to the sender should be something with a plus on it over a book or something. Hello, Mast. The blue stroke looks like it might have focus. The blue stroke. Oh yeah, the blue stroke of the image. Yes, that's a good point. I guess we could. I guess it depends on how we do the focus ring, but yeah, these might be a different color, or we could just not have it at all. What is Thunderbird? Lens. It's an email client. More. Yeah, I totally see what you mean about the word losing meaning. Yes, Nastor. Nastor. Okay. I like the stroke of the image though. Yeah. Maybe even more too. No, it's one. Okay, so this, let's go back to 333. This is something. This is starting to look like something, don't you think? It's not too bad. It's not too bad for now. So let's leave it like that, and let's do something. Oof, what is it? Let's change this. Let's move these away. Let's move these away. Actually, in order to see how we partially encrypted test message. Okay, and here we want to have the little thingy, a little human had contact to your thing. And luckily we have these beautiful this beautiful icon that is exactly what we need. Boom. 333. Boom. There you go. Does it make more sense now? Or maybe in the underneath the email, maybe here. See, having yuck. That's the thing I hate. Like having two lines of data and then having an icon to the side. I guess you will never have an image unless you store, like you saved your unless you save this account into your address book. I don't know. We can leave it. Let's leave it there for now. How does it look? Looks super weird having it to the side like this. Yeah, it looks super weird. I think it looks better on the email. But I guess we could also have it on top of the image, because you won't have an image here. I don't know. Move it up. Move it up. Move it down. Move it down. No, wait, what? Solid color. Why it's all linear? I want some solid color here. Something like that might be interesting, no? What do you think? Yeah. Maybe the stroke is a bit too much. Something like that. There's a little bit of color grading that needs to happen here because it's too. It's not. Like we have different gradation of gray, and we need an accent color, something better. But this is the overall idea here that might work. I'm worried that users will not like, because it makes sense. I'm worried that removing the from, subject, and to, like these labels, like all these labels will be part of the area label, so will be accessible and readable by screen readers. But I'm worried that, yeah, users will not like, I lost my subject, I lost who's this from. So we could try something to implement. Let's duplicate these, having these as a duplicate, and let's tweak it a little bit. So let's do something like this. Let's try to have a look. Maybe the star, it's attached to the subject, and then we have the subject. You see, that's the other thing about removing those labels. If I have to put the label here, then look how much space we lose because of a label that it's always repeated, always. Like every email you have subject. Like when's the last time that you had to read this section? Like after the 10th email that you receive, like you know that this is the from, the subject, and the to. So it's repeated, and it's not that. I mean, it's important, but it's not that without it you're completely lost, right? Does it make sense? So yeah, these are my doubts. So I'm gonna do something crazy now. Now do something that users will hate me forever for doing it. I'm gonna change the ordering to this. Oof, where is it? Oh, no. Go it up. Group it and group. Going down, okay. Right. Ah, no. This is not... There's not enough contrast on there, so it's not readable. But we could do something like this. Subject, and then duplicate this. And the fact that it's left align from... Yuck. Look how much space we waste. Look how much space we waste. I don't know. I can hear already the arguments of users that disagree with this organization and this thing. Damn it. Pushes and saves too much space. Okay, let's just do it for the sake of it, just to have a visual reference of how it might look like. Oof, awful, eh? Yeah, it doesn't make sense. Well, one thing that we could consider is to allow the users to hide this thing. So we could start in a situation where this is the default, actually. Right? Ooh, whatever. Come on, Figma. You can do this. This is 10. Could start from a situation where this is the default. Let's go 9. And let's go 9. And then here it's central line with this. And these are all central line. Center. Yes, it's center. We might, yeah, we might consider something like that. We might consider something like that. I mean, I really like the first one. Here, let's remove it because it's too prominent. This thing is too prominent. Yeah. Okay. I like the first example because the first example makes more sense. The only section, and actually I think these might make sense here. Yeah, this might, maybe, yeah, we'll see. Okay. I think the first example makes more sense because you selected, it's not that you're receiving this message out of the blue, you selected that message from the list of received message. So the fact that the subject is immediately as first position is immediately obvious and it's easier to read, it makes sense. These, it's completely detached. Like I can see the confusion here between the from and the to because we are treating them exactly the same. They have the same weight, the same space, the same location, the same alignment. But here, since the from, like the users that sent you this email, has a completely different connotation, has completely different style, it's completely detached from it. It's obvious that you don't really need from label. And then all these things that could be potentially organized that way. I mean, we could think of even for every field, no, this has to be top line. For every field here, we could have its own line dedicated, but then, yeah, no, it looks very It looks very weird. So something like that, I think it's plenty, it's enough. And with this way, we save a lot of space in the header. We can shrink it down. Something like that. I don't know. Yeah. What do you guys think? I like this organization. And here we can have plenty of space. So the problem here might be the subject line, but the subject line, we can avoid the fact that it's massive and it's very, very long by cutting the message. So we can reserve a specific maximum size to that subject line and then cut it down if we want to, or maybe not, because that message we already cut it in the pane. So these message lines should be as long as possible. Yeah, we'll need to think about it. But yeah, probably we could even start with this organization, with this sort of situation here, and allow the users in the options buttons of this area to remove the labels if they don't want it. Remove the labels. Yeah, that might be a better spacing. Here, we increase a little bit of space compared to the original one. Let's compare it. We increase a little bit the spacing between the items, the elements. We use different font size and different alignment to give a different rhythm to reading this panel. We highlight the important parts, which is like the subject and the who sent you this. Because most of the times, let's be honest, most of the times these area will just be these. Like this area will just be your email account, and that's it. Unless, of course, yeah, most of the times for like single time user or like normal user, for enterprise users on these other type of things, you will have like a million different things. So yeah, we can shrink it in this way, which is good. And if we click more, we're gonna have a row for each, like CC, reply to, and all these other extra headers. This leaves us good space in this area. I guess it's the same exact space, but then we need to reorganize these buttons, which we will do probably next time. It's more than an hour that I'm doing this live streaming. Let's remove this. What do you think? It's good visual prototyping here. We're kind of like trying to organize these this thing, and also because we have a nice little circle here, it doesn't look weird to have the from central line, which is interesting. Okay, let's read some comments or some chat. Looks like it looks nice in the image. Yes, if it's a button, should look like other buttons. The button more is too visible. Gray. Instead of more, something like boop boop boop. Is it? I don't know. I feel like it should be a little bit more obvious. Maybe it's too much, but a little bit more like a clickable element. It's always better to be obvious with the wording, I think. But yeah, it's something that can be explored. I agree, it's not the primary action, so it should not be blue. Yeah, button should be the reply buttons, considering the other stay gray. Oh, that's a very good suggestion, Nestor. So having the reply to be blue highlighted. Yeah, we could focus the attention on that, which is potentially is the primary button that everyone clicks, right? That's a good point. Figma needs a built-in contrast ratio tool. I think that there's a plugin for it. I usually do it with code, so it's okay. I think only the 2 is enough. It's logical that the address under the subject is linked to it. Maybe just add a bit more space over the 2 line. Yeah, that's in this first scenario, you think a little bit more space, so separating a little bit more, maybe giving like more space, and so grouping these two together and having these, let me join them, something like this. Yeah, might be a good approach. Yeah. First panel, button star to the right, from to the left to more right. Oh, yeah. I see what you mean. You have the interaction points that are like right, left, right. I mean, yeah, it's boom, boom, boom. Also, the fact that the star is to the right, it means that depending on the length of the message, this star might jump in different locations based on the message that you read. So that's weird. And also the more always usually only appears if you have a lot of things. So I wouldn't worry too much about the more. The more makes sense to have it on the right because it's the logical continuation of your reading, and they're extra that are hidden, so you can click on there. It's fine. It just follows the logical reading pattern. But yeah, the star, it might jump left and right. Yeah, that's a good point, and it's worth exploring. A side request, please add RTL text direction in the editor. It's a deal breaker for many users, especially in enterprise settings. The bug report has been there for ages. Oh, really? Yeah, Hamza. Sorry. Yeah, the editor, we need to rebuild it. There's a bug already, so it's happening. Hopefully before the next version, the next major ESR, is gonna happen. More could be triple dot or a plus. Never mind, that's not a great idea. Thank you, Mast, for the suggestion. Interesting logo. I like your logo, Mast. Did you make that? Yeah. Okay. Well, I think that's pretty much it for today's live streaming. I don't know if you guys have any further question. It's like Mast, I think I saw you before. Archemy, is that the correct pronunciation? But are you a designer? Your suggestions were awesome. Like I really like it. Would you mind applying for Thunderbird and help us out? We have some open positions in Thunderbird. Like we're hiring. If you guys are JavaScript or C++ developers, go to thunderbird.net. We have a couple of open positions. You can apply if you want to help us build the greatest email client in the world, stuff like that. But yeah, okay. I'll give you a few minutes for questions if you guys want. I think meanwhile I'm gonna do a button here. Yeah, these I was ok. Cerco di parlare inglese ma sono italiana. Anche tu, yeah! We're conquering the world. Amazing. Here I'm gonna show you before the end of the streaming. These are other prototypes that I was doing. Actually, this file, the Thunderbird UI file, it's a file that I keep updating to keep everything in check for the main UI and the variations based on the operating system, the macOS variation, the Windows variation, the Ubuntu. It's sexy. The Ubuntu variation is very, very sexy. This is a file that I'm working on, and I will be sharing it once it's almost complete. Like I need to in the components area, I only have the full interface and the compose interface. I need to recreate all the other different sections, like the major, like the calendar, the address book, and the preferences. So you guys can, or whoever wants to contribute or play with it, you can download it freely and tweak it and propose your suggestion. Basically, I'm offering like a free accessible design system tool, like a UI toolkit of Thunderbird, so you can tweak on it and help us improve it. But there are some yes, these mockups here. This mockups page is the page that I'm using to do as much as possible. This one I shared last time. It's the improvements to the folder pane that we need to rebuild, and having multiple options to customize this or change the density if you want to just relax density, compact density, or like default density. This is something that it's currently under review. I coded already, like the ability to have multiple views. You can have your favorite folders, old folders, or recent. This is something that I would like to do. I think we need to rebuild it from scratch by having the indicator better aligned. Like this is for a new message. This is for unread messages, but you already received that are not new. And then also having some built-in theming options just for the icons without the necessity for you to download and install an add-on or a theme that destroys your entire UI. Something that it's built in and is integrated into Thunderbird. So having like default coloring. I don't know if you know, but you can customize the colors of each folder if you want. But having some default pre-built coloring here, changing the style entirely, or changing the icon theme. These are like more refined icons. These are all ideas. The other thing is, yeah, what I showed you is the new address book. The current address book is very, very old style. It doesn't scale well. It has a lot of weird paradigms. But here having an address book that it's inside the tab, so you have plenty of space to manage all your accounts and changing things in line if you want to edit or add email, it opened up. If you want to edit the page, instead of having another dialog that opens on top of a dialog, which is horrible, it opens in line, so you can change everything and control all the things the way you want. And then another mockup. This is something I have to code next week. Probably I'm going to do live streaming while coding. Right now, when you enable encryption, the OpenPGP encryption, these icons, they appear in the bottom area in the status bar, and there's no tooltip, no description. It doesn't tell you which technology you're using. So I want to add them here or to the side of the subject line. And also another thing that I want to improve is that the fact that you can try to encrypt an email, but if you don't have the key of your recipients to encrypt, the email will not send, which is something super weird because you'll never know unless you try to send it. So I want to implement something that if you try to encrypt and you're using an address like an email or a recipient that you don't have the key for that in order to encrypt the message, it just pop-ups a little hey, be careful, you're missing these thing, and automatically the icon tells you, hey, this cannot be encrypted. You can add a signature, but this cannot be encrypted. So this is all the thing. And here I was doing some basic UI styling of having, right now we have like a lot of toolbar buttons, but these toolbar buttons, they change the style based on where they are, because in the past, each developer used to, okay, I'm going to do the toolbars on the main page. I'm going to do the toolbars in the calendar. I'm going to do the toolbars in the pane, like a right sidebar. So we have all these inconsistent styling all over. So I was trying to unify the style and try to find a more consistent approach. This is under review right now. But yeah, I will be sharing these files sooner or later once I have time to complete it. Let's read some other thing. Mast. It's inspired by some other logo. Yeah, Mast has a kick-ass logo. I like the Basecamp color scheme. Yes. Those chunky monochrome icons look nice. Really? Margin van der Werf? Margin. No, sorry. Do you like them? Because a lot of users hate them. Like, I hate them a lot. And I got some very bad emails, like offensive emails and threats. Not threats, but very, very, aggressive feedback about, oh, we hate this. This is the worst thing ever. We hate this UI. We don't like this. But yeah, I love them. They're so easy to read and they're not distracting and they're not a punch in the face, and you can color customize them the way you want, but whatever, it's fine. It's personal preference. Marraine. I would love to work for Thunderbird for already a job nester. Well, you can have multiple jobs. I would love to wear signature box and need to add pictures and logos. Signature box. What's the signature box? Stervin. Signature box. Let me know, Stervin, what do you mean by signature box? Marraine, maybe. I like how basic they are. Why they hate them? Why they hate these icons? Because it's a matter of mostly muscle memory. Like if you look at the old Thunderbird here, these are the icons. They are colored icons. So basically, by using these icons, you train your brain to automatically click an item, not based on the name, but based on the actual color. So by having all these icons monochrome, you have to do an extra step to actually read where you're clicking. But in my opinion, it doesn't really make sense. Like especially like if you have a lot of emails, like the major complaint that I had is that, the folders used to be yellow, or because I'm on Linux, this like grabs the default theme. So it's easier to recognize a folder. So I want all the folders same color, but it's the same. Like now you have the folder that they have all the same shape. And if you really need to distinguish a couple of important items, like I did here, you can just color customize the important items. For me, the most important is the inbox, trash, spam, and send. I customized it, and the others icons, I don't care because they're all exactly the same. But yeah, I can understand. The thing is that we changed to these very simple SVGs because they're simple to update. They're easy to update. It's very easy. Like all these those were PNGs. They don't scale with high DPI. They don't adapt to dark mode. Like look at this here. I received an email and now we can color the entire icon. We can color the entire row. We don't have to before only the text was coloring. And if we switch to dark mode here, we can change the color of the icon and ensure readability and color contrast. Before you add that image, and the image it remains the way, and it doesn't matter if you have a different background color. We cannot control the color contrast and be sure that there's a good readable contrast. And also this is just, you can right click properties and you can customize the color of your icon the way you want. Like you want this to be super purple, you can do it. Whatever. Like it's okay. I understand their point of view, but it's kind of bad when you start receiving very, very insults by users just because you designed something that they don't like. But it's okay. More questions. The custom colors of the icons has been reset after the last update to Thunderbird. Hamza, really? Shouldn't have to. It depends which version. It was an issue from 78.1 to 78 point something else because we had to improve something in the source code. So, but the colors shouldn't be changed. Like it should be permanent based on your profile. If you delete your profile folder, or you start with a new profile, it doesn't maintain, but it's saved in your profile. Mast says, I'd love to help Mozilla out, but I only have real work experience with Java, Spring Boot, maybe in a couple of years. Yeah. Oh, Arkemi says, I think that with signature, it means upload the image with the signature, like the one that Rob is using in the message. Yeah, you can do it in your profile, in your Compose profile, like in your account settings. That's something you can do already. That address book is only for external accounts. It's not for your account. Your account should be managed inside your account settings because it's tightly related to your server settings, like your email account. It's not part of the address book. Shouldn't be, I think. Margin, it makes sense. I'm used to macOS having the mono icons for ages, so maybe that's a different baseline. Yeah, the main complaint was the drastic visual change, and I understand. Like Thunderbird, the UI of Thunderbird hasn't changed in probably like 10 years or 5 years at least. So having something that you're used to it visually, it changes drastically. It's kind of like jarring at first, but just give it a time. Just use it for a couple of days and you will get used to it. I don't understand the total hate. What's the software? It's Figma. Loving it already. Thank you. Why does the user avatar have an add user icon? Margin. Oh, this one? We were experimenting this before because this is not saved in your user account. So when it's not saved, it shows add thingy that you can store it into your address book. When it's saved, then it will show like this with the email. Oh, this is Ezra Miller. Cool. This is an actor. It's the Flash. It will show these if you have it, if you have an image, or it will show the initial. I guess it's like we don't know. It's an experiment, so we don't know. But yeah, it's something to let the user that this account is not saved in their address book so that they can add it. Arkham said, oops, you wrote Italian. You shouldn't. Shouldn't write Italian. Okay. What was the delivery? A book? I was right. My wife got a book delivered home. So, yeah, success. Okay, I think that's enough for today. It was let me switch back to my view. Oh, I was so banded. Also, if you start working for Thunderbird, you can have this. Oh, look at the image, how it changed. No, this way. Okay, sorry. There you go. The Thunderbird hoodie. Beautiful, right? Do you want to have the Thunderbird hoodie? Come work for Thunderbird. We need people, especially if you have some design skills or UI and UX skills. If you know JavaScript and you're comfortable in doing this, it's super useful. All right. I think that's pretty much for today. Thank you, everyone. Mast, I'm feeling a little better. Yeah. I don't know. It's 2020, man. No one's feeling better. Everyone's feeling horrible. So what can we do? I want a t-shirt. I think you can. I think we can arrange that. I will talk with Ryan Denny to get you a t-shirt. We'll see. Yeah, let's leave it at that. Let's close. Let's finish this thing. Anyway, thank you guys for checking out the streaming, for participating. Thank you everyone who wrote in the chat all your comments. It's beautiful to have these design sessions in the open so everyone can see the process and can see. You can also understand the pros and cons of different things. You can understand the issues, the technical limitations, because usually it's kind of bad when like I spend time in designing, I spend hours and hours trying to understand like what's the best solution, and then I reach this conclusion, and then I release the design and I get a feedback from a lot of people say, oh, I hate it, like why did you do that, why it's in this position, it's just useless and stupid. And it's bad because then I have to explain the entire thought process, and I need to justify myself. I need to explain that the things that I do is not that I do it because, oh, let's put it here because I like it, because it's cute having it on the left side instead of the right. But there are, like you saw, there are technical reasons, there are readability reasons, there's a thought process behind that, and it takes time, and I'm not sure about the solution, so we're experimenting. So thank you so much for participating to these beautiful live streaming. Thank you for all your suggestions, Mass, Danny, Sturvin, Arkemi. I don't know how to say Italian names anymore. I've been speaking English for too long now. Thank you, Nestor, Margie, Nanis, Hamza, all the people, 60 plus people watching this live streaming. So as usual, give it a like, thumbs up. It helps a lot. Share it with your friends. And I'm thinking about doing these every Thursday morning around this time. So if you like this idea, let me know. Follow me on Twitter and let me know if you like this. And also just let me know what you want me to show you next time. I'm thinking about next time to do some coding and live testing. I'm going to show you the test environment. We have also some automated tests for UI, which is awesome. Like you literally see the application opening up and a fake mouse clicking around to see that everything actually interacts and behaves properly. It's just super cool. So I'm gonna piacere Emily. Yes, piacere. Sono Alessandro. Piacere. Okay, Tom. Yes, this is the ending. Sorry. The video will be available in an hour or so after YouTube did its processing thing, so you can rewatch it. There's no problem. But yeah, thank you so much for joining, participating. You guys are awesome, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.